Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards under $1. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And today we're going to be looking at all the white cards in Dominaria.
We're gonna evaluate those cards for limited, like draft or sealed, like your upcoming pre-release. In upcoming pre-release you'll get 6 packs of Dominaria boosters and you'll get 1 promo like you used to, but there's something extra this time. You'll get another promo which will be any legendary.
That is pretty sweet. Now we're going to be evaluating these cards according to our 3-tiered system. Tier 1, these are the bombs. This is the unconditional removal. These are, in essence, the cards that are going to be winning us the game. Our Tier 2 cards are also very good. If we've got a couple of these cards, it pushes us into that color, and if we're already in that color, these are auto-includes. Tier 3 cards, these are our filler cards. If we're still missing a couple of 2-drops, some 3-drops, we're going to be looking at the Tier 3 cards to smooth out our mana curve, and the rest of the cards, we're going to put those aside, either because they're bad or because they're too situational. Alright, without further ado, let's have a look at all the common cards. The first of our white common cards is Tragic Poet. For a single white, we get a 1/1 human, which we can tap and sacrifice to return target enchantment card from our graveyard back to our hand. Now this is, we don't really want to be playing 1/1s for 1, and the ability is simply too situational, and here we have a white cat to illustrate our point. So we're going to put this card aside, and we're ignoring the cat. Stefan, what is the next card?
Next card is Charge. 1 white, instant, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. This one is a lot better. It's a tier 3, it's a combat trick. It will target every creature you control, and for only 1 mana.
That's fine. Yeah.
The thing is, with combat tricks, with keeping up multiple mana, that's really annoying. But keeping up only 1 mana, that's really good. Pumping your whole team, also really good. Tier 3, good combat trick.
Yeah, I find it very aggressively costed, and as we've seen before in the past, combat tricks that are 2 mana, you know, fine, they're good to play, but I find that the 1 mana ones are simply so powerful because you almost always have the ability to keep the mana open for it. Yeah. Next we have is Healing Grace. For a single white, it is an instant. Prevent the next 3 damage that would be dealt to any target this turn. So this would be, you know, either a creature or to yourself or Planeswalker in this case. And you're also going to gain 3 life. So you may think to yourself, hey, that's a 6 point that we're gaining or stopping damage, 6 points. But in essence, it's very situational where you're actually going to be able to get that much value out of it. And in essence, all it does is going to be maybe protecting a creature, but only if certain conditions are met. And I just don't think that's worth the card.
Yeah, the thing is, you have to wait and then protecting, and I think there are other cards that do it better.
Yeah. Like,
if you want to protect your bomb, there are other cards. So that's why I just put it aside. Sarah's Disciple. 1 and a white, it's a 1/1 bird cleric with flying and first strike. And whenever you cast a historic spell, Sarah's Disciple gets +1/+1 until end of turn. This is the first time we hear historic spell.
Yeah.
So historic spells are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. Those are historic. Sagas we'll get to later.
Yeah. Then we're going to move on to Adamant Will. For 1 and a white. It's an instant. A target creature gets +2/+2 and gains indestructible at the end of turn. Tier 3. Solid combat trick. When it comes to removal, as we've said in the past before, basically your unconditional removal, that's tier 1. Your slightly conditional removal is tier 2. And your combat tricks can also function as removal, so those would be tier 3. So a good combat trick is in essence removal, tier 3 removal. And this is a good example of that because giving +2/+2 for, as I already said, 2 mana, that's pretty okay. That's pretty decent. And the indestructible just really pushes it over the edge. So yeah, tier 3, definitely.
Exactly, because it also doubles as protection. Like you said before, the healing stuff, like you don't really want to do that, but the indestructible, this one is really good because it's also versatile.
Yeah.
Even though it's 2 mana instead of 1.
Yeah.
Knight of New Benalia, it's 1 and a white, it's a 3/1 human knight, vanilla creature, tier 3, good filler, 3 power, it's pretty good.
You know what I'm going to do now, Stefan? I really love my 3/1s for 2 mana because they are so good on curve. If people don't have anything when it comes in, you are dealing 3 damage every turn. They don't have a 2-drop. It is just insane. I love it. Plus, if later on they've got, you know, a 2/3 or maybe a something that's even bigger, but with 3 or less toughness, you can block with it. Great. I love it. I love my 3/1s.
I don't like it as much.
That's why I gotta go extra. I gotta go extra enthusiastic on this one.
Is that it's not because you actually like it as much, but you have to compensate for me.
So we get a kind of a more realistic balance between the two of us.
I guess.
Okay. Next one we have is Mesa Unicorn. That is for 1 and a white. So that's for 2 mana. We get a 2/2 Unicorn with lifelink. Solid filler card. 2/2s for 2 are fine. That's already tier 3. And the lifelink pushes it a little bit further into tier 3, upper tier 3 territory. Just play it.
Yeah, it's a 2/2 for 2 with lifelink. It's just really good.
And gorgeous picture as well.
Yeah, it's a bit weird with everything creepily flowing and long. But hey.
It's motion. It signifies motion, Stefan. That's what it is, I guess.
Gideon's Reproach, 1 and a white. Instant. Gideon's Reproach deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Tier 2, people want to attack, people want to block, and you want to kill things. You want to play this.
Yeah, pretty solid. 2 mana. It's actually a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and 4 damage does a lot. It will kill like 90% of the things, 80%. So nearly everything.
Yeah, especially the stuff that's going to be giving you a lot of headaches, like stuff with evasion, like menace or flying and stuff like that. You will definitely be able to hit that kind of stuff. Banalish Honor Guard is next for 1 and a white. So for 2 mana, we get another 2/2 Human Knight. And this guy gets +1/+0 for each legendary creature you control. Now, there are a lot of legendary creatures and even sagas and stuff like that in this set. So there are plenty of this one's for creatures specifically, but I'm just saying there are a lot of legendary permanents in this set. But even then, you cannot always count on either having the legendary when you've got this card or that you've got the other way around. You cannot guarantee that you have them both, or maybe you did have one before and then it gets removed. So do not count on it. However, still just 2/2 for 2. It's fine. You still play it. Don't think, oh, I don't think I've got enough legendaries to make it get the +1/+0 or +2/+0. Just play it as a 2/2 for 2 with potential upside later.
Exactly. That's the whole point. Like all these kind of 2/2s for 2 with extra things. Even though you don't meet the criteria, it's still a 2/2 for 2 with upside. And if you meet the criteria, it's just only better.
Agreed, yeah.
Invoke the Divine. 2 and a white. It's an instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. You gain 4 life. There are more enchantments in this set. Some artifacts are pretty good, but you don't want to play this in your main deck. You'll play more than one round, so you can always put it in if you find something that's really annoying. But normally you don't want to play this. Yeah,
most of the cards that are going to be winning your opponent's games are going to be their bombs, which are going to be creatures. And yeah, of course, there's very powerful enchantments and powerful artifacts and stuff, but the amount that they're going to have, and even if you already played against an opponent, they happen to have one that was very strong, you cannot guarantee that sideboarding this card in is actually going to be, solve that problem. So,
yeah, just put it aside.
Put it aside. Next, Devenant Trapper for 2 and a white. So for 3 mana, we got a 3/2 Human Archer. So that body's fine already, right off the bat. 3/2 for 3. I'm happy with that as well. I like my 3 damage on my creatures. And it also states that whenever you cast a historic spell, so a artifact, legendary, or saga, then we're going to tap target creature an opponent controls. So that's pretty cool because if it comes in on turn 3 and then turn 4, if we do play something that's historic, we can tap something and then attack with impunity, make sure that they can't really block us efficiently.
Yeah, and just 3/2 for 3. I actually like that a lot better than the 3/1.
Yeah, but you're paying extra mana. That's how they get you. That's how they get you. That extra 1 mana tax.
Yeah, but this one has upside.
It also has upside. Absolutely.
So for 1 mana, you get a lot.
It is absolutely true. Great deal. Good card. Good filler.
Next one, Dub. 2 and a white. It's an enchantment aura. Enchant creature. Enchant creature gets +2/+2. And it's a knight. And it gets first strike. So it's a lot of things for 3 mana. It isn't an aura. And we say that we don't like the auras. But +2/+2 and first strike for 3 mana. It's really good.
Yeah, this is controversial.
Yeah.
We had a big discussion about this because, as a rule, you don't want to play auras in limited. You don't want to get 2 for 1. 2 for 1 is when you put an aura on a creature. You've got 2 cards essentially on the creature and the aura, and then somebody using removal to kill your creature, which also gets rid of your aura card, which means they use 1 card to get rid of your 2 cards. So that's 2 for 1 in yourself. You don't want that. That's bad.
Yeah.
However, just the scenario where, let's say, turn 2, you play your 2-drop, and then turn 3, you put dub on that creature, and now you're 2/2, you're attacking on turn 3 with a 4/4 first strike on turn 3. There is no way that people can deal with that.
Yeah.
So early. And even if they do deal with it later, you've probably already either traded some creatures, meaning that you're not 2-for-1ing yourself anymore, or dealt so much damage that it is worth that one card that you've invested into it. So yeah, controversial, tier 3. And also one point, which is also important to remember, is that early game, the scenario we just sketched, that's powerful. But late game, putting it on your bomb, your big flyer, that also is a great, great advantage. So it does work in all stages of the game.
Yeah, but yeah, it's an enchantment aura, so if you're top decking, then it still doesn't do anything for you. So that's always a difficult choice, and
that's
why,
the question.
Yeah,
doesn't it do something? Let's say if you have a board stall and you've got
yeah,
everybody's got 4/4s, and then also you've got a 6/6 with first strike, then you're not really.
No, but I mean, if you don't have creatures, you're
if you don't
searching
have creatures,
for something.
Yeah.
That's
if you don't have creatures, then you got a problem. Yeah,
and that's the point. Like that's why we don't really like it normally, but I think it's powerful enough to actually have that tier 3 slot.
Yeah, agreed.
Pegasus Courser, 2 and a white. It's a Pegasus with flying, and whenever he attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. That's really good.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
it's a 1/3 for 3 with flying. So the body itself's already pretty good, because I really like my 1/3s. It will block all the bears in the air. It will block nearly everything that's pretty early, and it gives something else flying whenever it attacks every single time. Insane. Tier 2.
Yeah, I can see this card being the cause of a lot of victories, actually. Next card is Sergeant at Arms for 2 and a white. So for 3 mana, we get a 2/3 human soldier. That's already right on curve. That's not a problem. 2/3. I really actually do love my 2/3s more than 3/2s, because they don't die to bears. You pop somebody on turn 2 puts down a 2/2, then you on your turn 3 you're going to put down a 2/3, and then they can't attack into you efficiently anymore, which is super nice. But it also has Kicker for 2 and a white. So if we're actually paying 6 mana, then it's also going to enter with an additional 2 white soldier creature tokens. So early game, turn 3. You're popping down something useful, and later game you got 3 bodies, which is also pretty good. Nice little that it has a little bonus.
And Kicker, if you cast it, you may pay an additional Kicker cost, which is 2 and a white, when you cast it. So not after you already have it on the table. So it has to be when you cast it, and you don't have to be afraid to not to cast it for unkicked.
Yeah,
because even though you get more value out of it, if your flow of the game is better, if you don't kick it, then you shouldn't be afraid to not kick it.
Yeah, the benefit of these cards with Kicker is actually that they can be good early game, and they can also be good late game. And of course, one of those things that we always promote is that a card is good when it is good in multiple stages of the game. If a card is only good when you're able to play it on turn 2 early, and later on it's a dead card, then it's less good than a card that has functioned both early, mid, and late game. So Kicker actually does build that into the card.
Yeah, and it's just really nice to just like, oh, I have the extra mana laying around anyways, so it gets a bit bonus.
Yeah.
Aven Sentry, 3 and a white. It's a 3/2 bird soldier with flying. Tier 2, 3 power in the air. It's really good.
Yeah, this ends game super fast. It seems so innocuous, so simple. Just 3/2, body seems, and the flying, okay. But this seriously wins games. Very powerful. Then we move on to Call the Cavalry for 3 and a white. So for 4 mana, it's a sorcery, which allows us to create 2 white knight creature tokens with vigilance. Now, if we would have gone for 4 mana, a 4/4, that would have been better with vigilance, but still over 2 bodies, having the vigilance, being able to attack, having 2 times that we can block with it is still pretty decent. So it's just a filler. Takes up a creature slot.
Yeah, and you still have the 4 toughness power with blocking, so that's also pretty important. But yeah, the 4 power divided over 2 bodies, I'm always like, it's a bit iffy, and that's why it's in the
filler category.
Yeah. Excavation Elephant. 4 and a white. It's a 3/5 elephant with kicker 1 and a white. And when he enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. So most likely it will not happen, but it's the nice added bonus. For me, a 3/5 for 5 is actually pretty good. I really like my 3/5s for 5. A good tier 3.
Yeah, think about all the stuff that this thing can block. This thing can block 4 days. There's not a lot of stuff that has 5 or more power, actually, in the set. So it may seem very innocuous, but yeah, for 5 mana, you pop this down, and people are going to have a serious problem.
Exactly, and the 3 power, it will kill a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, even with 2 power, I would actually be pretty happy. 3 just pushes it completely over the edge. Then we move on to Blessed Light for 4 and a white. So for 5 mana, it's an instant. We're going to be able to exile target creature or enchantment. This is tier 1. This is your unconditional removal, and it also even hits enchantment. So this is just beautiful. At common, nonetheless.
Yeah, it's insane. 5 mana, instant speed, exiling a creature at common.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah,
this is good.
Tier 1 unconditional removal.
Beautiful. Thing of beauty.
And the next one is...
Those are the commons. And then we're going to move on to the uncommons.
The first uncommon is Dauntless Bodyguard. It's a white, it's a 2/1 human knight. And normally you don't like all 2/1s. But this one is really good because as he enters the battlefield, choose another creature you control, sacrifice Dauntless Bodyguard. The chosen creature gains indestructible until end of turn. This means you can attack aggressively early game, but also late game it can protect something, and it can block something when it blocks something and then sacrifice itself to actually negate that damage too. So I really like this one, and I think I'll always play this one tier 2.
Yeah, beautiful. What's important to remember is if you do play it early as an aggressive attacker, it won't be able to protect your bomb later in the game. So it's really one or the other, but it's still good early or late game.
You really have to choose when it enters the battlefield.
Exactly, but it's good in both situations. That's what makes it good. Knight of Grace is next for 1 and a white. So for 2 mana, we get a 2/2 human knight with first strike. Now, 2 2s for 2, that's good, that's filler. Now you give it first strike, all of a sudden it'll beat any other 2/2, and all of a sudden they're going to need something with 3 toughness to be able to kill it. So that's actually puts it over the curve. And additionally, it's got hexproof from black, which means it won't be able to be targeted by black sources. But because it's hexproof, we can target it with our black sources. So it's important to remember that if we would have a black aura, we could still enchant it with that. And additionally, Knight of Grace gets +1/+0 as long as any player controls a black permanent, so whether our opponents do or whether we do, which could be interesting if we want to go white-black with this kind of card, it gets extra benefit. Regardless of whether you're doing that, this is a tier 2 card because on turn 2, you want to have a 2-drop. Knight of Grace is spectacular in that position, as being a first striker.
Yeah, it would be really nice if the opponent plays a black creature, so he will pump your creature up. That would be really cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Seal Away, it's 1 and a white enchantment with flash, and when Seal Away enters the battlefield, exile target tapped creature an opponent controls until Seal Away leaves the battlefield. We want to destroy creature, exile creatures anyways. For 2 mana, exile an attacking creature basically. That's really nice, tier 1 unconditional removal.
Yeah, this is we need to get rid of our opponent's bombs.
Yeah.
And how do they win with their bombs? Most of the time, they're just hitting us with it in the face, right? They're attacking with big evasion creatures. They're attacking us with stuff. And to attack, 9 out of 10 times, they're not going to have vigilance, so they're going to tap it, and then bam, that's the beauty of it. We don't have to wait for them to hit us because it's got flash. So we can do it before the combat damage step, negating any damage and exiling that big fatty for only 2 mana, which is pretty nasty.
You can do it before blockers, just in case they have something.
Good. That's good to remember. Then we move on to the first of our sagas, and that is Triumph of Gerard. For 1 and a white, we have got a saga. So saga is an enchantment, and when it enters, we're going to put a counter on it, a lore counter, and then every next turn, after we draw a card, we're going to put another counter on it. So what happens when it comes into play? We're going to put a counter on it. In this case, we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature we control with the greatest power. Then next turn, after we draw our card, we're going to put another lore counter on it. Then we're going to do the same thing again. And then finally, on that third time after we draw a card, we're gonna put another lore counter on it, and then target creature you control with the greatest power gains flying, first strike, and lifelink at the end of turn. And then of course we have to sacrifice this saga. What do we think about it? It's sagas are cool. You know, it's cool that you put something down and it gives you continual value. It keeps on casting spells for you.
Continual value.
Well, that's the whole point. The value is not that great for the investment and for the card, that +1/+1 counter, and then doing it another time. And then I just don't think it's enough to warrant the inclusion of the card, especially because it feels so bad if you put this down and somebody removes your creature and then does nothing for the next couple of turns. No.
Exactly. If someone moves your creature, then you didn't really do anything.
No.
Board the Weatherlight. 1 and a white. A sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a historic card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Just put aside, you will have to find a historic card, and
which is probably, you probably want your legendary creature. That's probably what you're going for.
But the chances are like you won't have many cards, so you maybe you won't find anything, so just put it aside. Yeah, it's
there's a lot of legendary creatures, as we said already, but doesn't mean that you can fill your deck with it, unfortunately. Also because these legendaries are in the uncommon, rare, and mythic spot, and of course most of your cards are going to be commons. Next we have Danitha Capashen Paragon, and that is for 2 and a white. So for 3 mana we get a 2/2 legendary human knight. This one's got first strike, vigilance, and lifelink. Okay, that is pretty sweet. So for just 1 extra mana premium over what we normally would be paying for a 2/2, now we got the first strike, vigilance, lifelink. Awesome, that's great. And auras and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Okay, now that is going to be less relevant, but this is a fine filler for your turn 3 drop.
No, exactly. It's like we already said, the 2/2 with first strike is really good, and then we get a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, but this one comes in later, so that pushes it less over the edge.
Quende, Pride of Femeref.
It rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah. Beautifully. 3 and a white. It's a 2/2 legendary human knight. It's with double strike, and creatures you control with first strike have double strike. We probably won't have many creatures with first strike, so it's kinda not saying anything about that one. But a 2/2 double striker for 4. I'd rather have like a 4/4, but it's still a good filler.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, what you really want to do is you want to pump this kind of stuff, but you also can't guarantee you'll be able to have that kind of stuff. So you really got to look at this card by itself without auras on top of it, without having other creatures with first strike next to it. It's just going to be a 4 mana 2/2 with double strike. Yes, it can attack. Yes, it can do 4 damage, but it can also just die to smaller creatures. So it's just
you need a 2/3 to kill it.
Not too excited about that.
Exactly. But you can also kill a 4/4, so that's also nice. That's the whole point. Like, that's why it's a filler, because of these things.
It's just fine in the end, taking it all into consideration. Then we have On Sarah's Wings for 3 and a white. So for 4 mana, it's a legendary enchantment aura. When we enchant a creature, that creature is going to become legendary and is going to get +1/+1. It's going to get flying, vigilance, and lifelink. Now, here we come again to one example of an aura where normally we say, these auras, put them aside, don't even bother with them. But it is crazy what this aura can do even if we would just put it on an innocuous 2/2, which is basically the worst scenario you could imagine. Of course, best scenario being on your bomb, but worst case scenario, you're putting it on your 2/2, and on turn 4, you're attacking with a 3/3 with flying. You're hitting them. You got vigilance, so you can also block next turn. You got your 3/3 to block. People they can't attack with any of their 2/2s anymore. And on top of that, it's got lifelink, so you dealt 3 damage. You gained 3 life, so that's a 6-point life swing. Crazy. This is actually, even if it only stays on that creature for 1 or 2 turns, it's more than worth it. So carefully, we want to put it in tier 3, because actually, I do want to see if I can find a spot for something like this.
Yeah, we've been talking about it, and it's like, okay, but what kind of creature would we want in the spot for this spot? Like Quende, do we like that one better, or do we even like this one better? And I think we actually like On Sarah's Wing even better than the 2/2 double striker.
Yeah.
So it feels really wrong.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
say.
It could be sleep deprivation.
Maybe.
It could be that we're crazy on Diet Coke right now, but you know it just seems really good.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Sanctum Spirit, 3 and a white. It's a 3/2 spirit with lifelink, and you can discard a historic card, and Sanctum Spirit gains indestructible until end of turn. 3/2 for 4, not bad. Lifelink, really nice. Discarding a card, you most likely don't want to do that, but to have that option is always good. Like I said before, even if you do not use it or meet the conditions for something like that, there's still a potential upside, and that's always nice.
The potential upside is that they potentially have no idea whether you can do it. And that's kind of funny. The reason why we didn't put any higher than tier 3 is because I think the body is just not really there. You know, a 3/2 for 4.
That's why it's a spirit.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't really like the power and the toughness for the mana, and but yeah, it's still filler because of that lifelink, because of that fact that you can potentially be a combat trick as well. Baird, Steward of Argive, for 2 and 2 whites, so for 4 mana. We have a legendary human soldier. It's a 2/4, so that's a fine body for 4 mana. A 2/4, that's cool. That stops bears. It stops bigger stuff is when it kills bears. Actually, it's got vigilance. It's nice. You can attack with it. You can block with it, and creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless they pay 1 for each one of those creatures. That is going to be so annoying. It's so much fun for you if you got this card. So that is definitely tier 2. It protects you like crazy, and it's still, even if you only have the creature, it gives you that little bit of ability to still keep on poking because it's got the vigilance.
Yeah, and for toughness, really nice to block.
Beautiful card. Love it.
Cell Angel, 3 and 2 white. It's a 4/4 angel with flying and vigilance. This will win you the games. Tier 1 player.
So beautiful. Sarah Angel is just such a card that just comes down, and then you're just like, okay, now you answer it or you're dead because I can hit you. And you pretty much can't hit me because it's got vigilance.
Exactly.
That is a awesome clock. Those are the uncommons. Let's have a look at the rares. The first of our white rares is Banalish Marshal. For 3 white mana, we get a 3/3 Human Knight, and it states that other creatures you control get +1/+1. Now, you may think, oh, only turn 3, we're going to pop this down, we're going to 3/3, and it pumps our entire thing. Great, we're playing this every single time. This is awesome. But, Stefan, it might be a trap.
What? No.
Actually, that's my invitation for you to explain that as a trap. You're not supposed to be that. Anyway, yeah. So the reason why it is a trap is because it requires the 4 white mana. Now, you're going to be, in your pre-release, you're going to be playing...
3.
Sorry, it's going to require 3 white mana, and during your pre-release, you're going to be playing... You're going to be trying to play 2 to maybe 3 colors, which means that being able to get those 3 white sources is going to be quite tricky, right?
Yeah, the thing is, like, if you have like a 50-50 split, then you can assume that only half of them will be white. So it'll take you like 5, 6 lands, and if you're unlucky, 7. So the thing is, it will be like, let's say a 5 or 6 drop. Let's say if it's a 5 drop in a pretty decent scenario, then you turn 5, you get a 3/3, and then it pumps your other creatures up, but how much will you have?
Yeah, and there's just too many scenarios where it really just won't work. And then the thing is, even if you do wait till turn 6, for example, where you could reliably cast this, is this really your 6 mana bomb that you're going to be playing?
Yeah, I mean, turn 6.
Okay, your turn 6. Is it really going to be the play that is going to be winning you the game?
Yeah, and I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
So just put it aside. Tashar, Ancestors Apostle. 3 and a white. It's a 2/2 legendary bird cleric with flying. And whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with confirmed mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you have to play other legendary creatures or other historic spell. But a 4 mana 2/2 flying isn't that bad of a body in its own, and the upside is just so good.
Yeah, like if it would have just been a 2/2 flyer for 4, I would have been like, you know, might be playable in the, but you know, you don't want that.
And the incidental putting something back on the battlefield. The thing is, we say like, oh, you shouldn't count on these kind of things, but it's a decent body on its own already.
Yeah.
And then the upside is so good.
Yeah, exactly. It only needs to be relevant one time, and then you've got great value out of it. And every consecutive turn after that. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for that, it's not a dead card. It's not like it's not doing anything. It's still swinging in the air with evasion for 2 damage every turn. So that's nothing to sniff at.
No, exactly. And the graveyard to battlefield instead of your hand is just great.
Yeah, super good.
So tier 2.
Yes, then we have Shalai, Voice of Plenty for 3 and a white. So for 4 mana, we've got a 3/4 Flying Angel. Now, for 4 mana, a 3/4 Flying Angel?
That's really good.
That is crazy. And additionally, you, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. Okay, so that is insane. Finally, should you be playing in green? You don't have to. But should you be playing also in green, for 4 and 2 green, we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control. So this has got, let's count the things that this thing's got. Because it's got the evasion. It's got the big butt to block really well. It's got the protection built in for the rest of your team. It's got it's got a mana sink. So later when you don't have anything to do with your mana, you can just pump it into here. So it does everything, and these are the kind of cards that win you games. The definition of a bomb, tier 1, beautiful.
Yeah, this was win so much game. And 3 power is also pretty good, especially in the air.
Yeah.
Daring Archaeologist. 3 and a white, it's a 3/3 human artificer, and when he enters battlefield, you may return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Like we said before, like unlikely, but whatever. Whenever you cast a historic spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Daring Archaeologist. So it will be a 3/3 for 4 with upside, but neglectable.
Yeah.
Still tier 3.
I wouldn't even count on it doing anything when it comes in, but later on, as the game progresses, sure, it might happen once or twice, and it is a nice little bonus. But even without that, then still the 3/3 for 4 mana, it's a fine body.
It is a fine body.
Don't worry too much about saying, I'm not playing enough artifacts, so I shouldn't play this. Like, no, you could just, even with no historic cards whatsoever, you could still just play a 3/3 for 4 mana without any problems. Next is Ursa's Ruinous Blast for 4 and a white, so for 5 mana. It's a legendary sorcery. Now, what does that mean? It basically means that we can't cast this unless we control a legendary creature or planeswalker. So it would have been nice if it would have just said, unless you control another legendary permanent, because we've got some auras, we've got sagas and stuff like that. But it really needs to be a legendary creature or planeswalker, which is kind of annoying. It makes it more difficult to get the opportunity to cast this.
So we need someone else to cast it for us. Because we need a planeswalker creature that is
exactly.
legendary.
So we're not even good enough, you know. So let's see what Ursa thinks about this. It's exile all non-land permanents that aren't legendary. Yes, beautiful scenario. Paint you a picture with my words. You've got one legendary, awesome, powerful creature. They've got a bunch of commons that, you know, common peasantry, you know, and you play this because you happen to have that legendary creature. They lose all their stuff. Your legendary creature standing there, victorious, attacks. You know what? Might not happen every single time. Might not happen most of the time, actually. And I think this card is a perfect example of something which is a phenomenal reward, which will never happen during your game. So I would just put it aside and go for something a little bit maybe more expensive and more reliable.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, your legendary creatures will be a bit more splashy, will be drawing the removal. So keeping them live while actually drawing this to cast it. Just, the thing is, it sounds really good, but
unlikely.
Yeah.
Very
so just
unlikely.
put it aside.
Yeah. Even the cat didn't like that. So, all right. Then we move on to the next one. Fall of the Thrawn for 5 and a white. It's a saga once again. So when it comes in, we put a lore counter on it. And then every time after a draw, we're going to put another one on it. So what happens when it comes in? Very simple. Destroy our lands. We don't see that very often. Yeah. Boom. Yay. The whole everything's boomy. Okay, great. Wish I could cut that out, but I'm not going to. Then, the next turn after we draw a card, each player returns 2 land cards from their graveyard back to the battlefield. So we destroy the entire board, and then next turn, we both get 2 lands, and then next turn again, we get 2 lands. So we go back to 4 lands. So let's say we did this on turn 6, we had 6 lands, and then later on, we knock ourselves back to the Stone Age, bring us back to 4. Just like with board wipes, yes, you can play around this, but the question is, how are you going to be able to play around this? If they're ahead, scenario, they're ahead, right? They've got the big bomb, you're not winning, you do this. Now all of a sudden, neither one of us has any lands pretty much, or 2, best case scenario, they've got a bomb. and we've got nothing that's going to be stopping that bomb. Bad scenario. Other scenarios, we've got the bomb. We're winning. They don't have anything. We're going to win the game. What do? We wipe the board. Okay, great. Why do we need to spend this card on that? Because we were winning anyway. Waste of time. So don't play it.
Yeah. Land destruction in limited, it's not gonna really do much for you.
No.
So, Ephra, Halcyon Witness. 4 and 2 white. It's a 4/4 legendary avatar with lifelink. 4/4 with lifelinks, already pretty good. But for 4 mana, exchange your life total with Ephra, Halcyon Witness's power. So, you can change your... if you have like 10 life, then you can, for 4 mana, switch your power...
your life with its power?
Yeah. So you have a 10/4 with lifelink and you have 4 life. That's really risky. But if it works, then it's really, really cool.
Yeah. Because you're gonna hit with that 10 power creature, gain the 10 life, whether they block it or not. It doesn't even matter whether they block it or not. And then all of a sudden you're at 14 life. And then next turn you could do it again, giving this guy, this creature, making it a 14/4. And so on. So it keeps on growing. You keep on gaining more life. So yes, it's not really that scary. Except, of course, what can happen is when they attack and somebody has removal on the attack before you can deal damage. But you know what? You gotta roll those dice sometimes in the game of life. And so in Magic too, must we sometimes take a risk. And I think this is a pretty... this is a risk that I think is okay to take.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just waiting for someone to just like burn me out.
Yeah, deal 4 damage to target creature.
No, just deal 4 damage to you.
Just to your face and you're done. Yeah, even then. That's add insult to injury. That is great. Those are the rares. Let's have a look at the mythics.
The first mythic is History of Dominaria. It's 1 and 2 white. It's a saga. And when it comes in, you get a 2/2 night creature with vigilance. It's a bit more expensive than we really want for 2/2, but the next turn you get another 2/2 with vigilance, and then the third turn, knights you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. So that's actually really good tier 2, because for 3 mana you get so much value out of this. And to top it off, if you play random knights, that's even more gravy.
Yeah, but even if we don't, just it's bare bones. Comes in, immediately on the turn it comes in. So on turn you do have that 2/2 to block with, to attack with on the next turn. So that's pretty sweet. And then on that, after that third lord counter gets placed, we can essentially, reliably say we're going to be attacking with 2 4/3s with vigilance. That is going to be tough for people to stop. And even if they do block that, they might lose a card. And we're not really losing a card over that if they block one of them, because they're just tokens, right?
Yeah, it was like 1/3 of a card.
Yeah, this is actually really beautiful. Then we move on to the last of the mythics, and that is Lyra Dawnbringer for 3 and 2 whites. So for 5 mana, we get a 5/5 flying first strike lifelink. Okay, bam, we're done. That's it. You know, I don't even know why I continue, but other angels you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. Okay, I could have actually stopped. Not really necessary. The chances that you got multiple angels is unlikely. However, just by itself, on turn 5, you put this down, and they need to answer it, because not only is it a lot of damage, it also even if you're behind, you need to block. It'll kill everything and it'll never die because of the first strike. And the lifelink means that it's also going to be bringing you back from the brink of defeat. So it's a beautiful card in every sense of the word, and it looks pretty too.
This is the card that just win you the game.
Yeah.
Tier 1, play this card. If you see it, think maybe I should play white.
Yeah, if you open this, you go, this is tier 1. I'm going to be playing white. Let's see what else we're playing. I mean, the 2 white shouldn't be an issue, because if you play this turn 5 or turn 6, which is, you know, more realistic, you will have those 2 pips.
Yeah.
All right. Those are the mythics. Let's have a look at the conclusion.
In conclusion, white is really solid. A lot of flyers, removal is good, we have some small creatures, we have some big butts. What more do you want?
Yeah.
I mean, unconditional removal uncommon. That is like already enough for me to say, maybe I should look at white.
Yeah. The cards are just really solid, from the 2/2s with first strike to the 3/5 elephants to just 3/2 flyers to, as Stefan already said, the unconditional removal. All of it is just so solid. And later on as well, in your rares and mythics, these are bombs. These are solid bombs. I mean, the other colors don't have so many rares and mythics that are all really good. You know, so it's too situational. It's good for Commander. That's good for God knows what new format Wizards is gonna come up with next. Brawl. You know, I don't know. They won't last. Anyway, but White has so many good, solid cards in the entire spectrum, which the other colors just do not have. So I can easily see this being your main color, but I can also see it being a splash color or a secondary color in so many other decks, because it just has what the other colors need. It will be able to fill that out. So it's super strong. I definitely think I would like to see myself playing White during the pre-release.
I see myself playing any color, all the colors.
No, not any color. You see yourself playing all the colors, all of them simultaneously, plus purple for some reason, which was never even a color.
Nearly, it was nearly a color.
And you should stop playing purple because people don't like it. And also, while you're at it, stop playing your lands in the front. You're not fooling anyway. Anyway, in conclusion, good color. And also, now that we've looked at White, we'd like to remind you guys that we got the next color is going to be blue coming out. And if you like these videos, if you like these reviews, head on over to our Patreon page. It's basically a website where people can donate as little as $1 per month, and it helps us make videos, helps to keep the lights on, literally get lights, you know, for this, so we can look super bright. Right now it's in the middle of the night, but it still looks like we're sleep deprived, so that's why the lamps work. And yeah, helps us get equipment and anything else that we require to make these videos. So thank you very much to our current patrons for heading over to patreon.com as well. Also join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where we post pictures of cards, our opinions. Also, we've got when we notify when new videos are coming out. And for example, if you check out some of our deck techs, we have budget deck techs out over there as well, and we post on social media some non-budget upgrades. So join us over there. And of course, if you just want to tell us, hey, this evaluation of the card was awesome, this one was terrible, just let us know on social media. We'd love to hear from you. I guess that's it. Actually, no, you also have to subscribe to, there's so much stuff you need to do. You also have to subscribe to us here on YouTube for most powerful decks and advice, because if you subscribe and you hit that little bell button, you'll get a notification when a new video comes out. That's actually the quickest way to know when these set reviews are coming out. Now that's really it. Thanks for watching. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And this is Budget MTG Decks.